To get started, I want you to go to Animate, and at the top it says Help, and then Hands-on Tutorial, and then Icon. So Help, Hands-on Tutorial, and Icon. Or you can click that pencil for the icon, depending on what comes up. So I've got it up here now, or at least I will in a second. That's Help, Hands-on Tutorial, Icon, or click that icon tutorial at the beginning. Help, Hands-on Tutorial, Icon. So once you've got that up, it might take a second. We're going to follow those steps, and the first one says to drop that pencil, drop it right on to frame 1. So I've clicked on frame 1 on the timeline in the bottom, and then I click it and I drag it onto the stage. That's the white part. And then I hit the free transform button. It's that second one up top. Then what I have to do is I get that pivot point. It's the white ball, and I change it from the middle to the bottom left. I then create a keyframe 20, and I do that by hitting the square box with the button in the middle. All right, setting a pose. So on frame 1 and 20, I want them to look different. So here I'm on frame 20, and there I am on frame 1. I'm clicking back and forth to see the difference. And I've rotated on frame 20 to make it move and change the angle. Now I'm going to insert a keyframe there, and I do it by clicking that button on the far left, up top on the timeline. So now I've got it's not transitioning, but I've just got it at frame 1, frame 20, frame 30, and frame 40. I've got the pen. All right, so I've set the pose. I'm going to hit next. All right, so let's look. There it is in frame 30. There it is on frame 20. It's not moved. So what I'm doing is on frame 30, I'm going to move it a bit. So let's click frame 1. Okay, that's good. Okay, right there. Let's move that closer to frame where it is on frame 1. So that's where it's going to look on frame 20. There's frame 1. All right, let me move it over to the left further to give myself a bit more room. All right, there's 20, there's 30, and there's 40. I've just placed this pen at 4 different spots using the keyframe. I haven't done anything other than just place it in spots. And now, in between those two, it tells me to copy and paste, so I could go back to frame 1 and then copy and paste. But what I've done is I've just moved it as I've inserted the keyframe. It does the same thing. And then I'm going to hover over, and I'm create a classic tween. And so now when I drag and I go on my timeline, I can see that the computer is transitioning it for me. All right. So then I'm going to hit play, see what it looks like, and I can see my pen slowly go across. I have recording software on your computer. It would probably be far quicker. So I've got it in 4 different spots, and I've got a classic tween in between those. So I select anywhere in between those keyframes. And now what the computer is saying is you can change how quick it responds at different parts. And if I select those parts, I go up to Properties and then Frame, and then I can set how quickly I want it to ease in or ease out. It's not a big deal, but it does change the way your animation looks. Now, because I've got the recording software, it's not going that quick. But if you could experiment with that, I would like it, just so you can see how your animation responds, quicker or slower, or it moves more at the beginning or the end, depending on what you do. When you select all those frames, you go to Properties, it will change everything within there. All right, now we're going to create a line underneath our pen. So I'm having a tough time moving this particular window to get out of the way, trying to drag it, and it just will not respond. All right, and so what I'm going to do is I just grab that box. I'm on another layer now. Okay, so clicked on layer 1, keyframe 1. I make a little box. I go to the box there, and then on keyframe 1, I'm going to draw a little box. I'm then going to create a keyframe further down. So let's go to frame 20. Now I'm used to doing an insert keyframe like this. I keep forgetting to use the shortcuts on the bottom, but if you hover over down below, you will insert a keyframe. So I've got a blank keyframe, and I don't know why. It means I've done something wrong. So I'm stepping back here, hitting Control Z. Okay, I no longer have that keyframe. I'm going to go, and there I go. Oh, and I forgot, and you know what? Use the button. And so get the keyframe 20, click that button on the left side. There it is. I've clicked it. There's my keyframe, and my pen appeared. And that's what should happen. My box. And so there's my box. So I'm going to press and hold Control so the left edge stays. So on keyframe 20, I've increased the size of the box. It's still the same size on keyframe 1, and it's a large box on keyframe 20. So what we want to do is, instead of using a motion tween, because it's not a symbol, we're going to make a shape tween. And so we just hover over till we say shape tween. You can see it's a different color to shape tween. So there's one shape, and it's going to morph into the next one, and it looks like we've drawn a line. We've put that on a separate layer underneath the pen, and the computer has transitioned. So we've got the pencil, and we've got the pen. We've got the line, and we've got the pen. All right. And now the tutorial is telling us, just pivot the pen so that it looks a little bit more natural. It wants us to change the speed, and we cover that, with the ease in and ease out. There's our classic ease, and that will change the way it appears, change the speed at which the animation happens. Now, I've made a mistake here, and I don't want that pen to be drawing nothing. So I didn't follow the tutorial properly, but I am going to export this to a GIF. And let's see what we've done. It exports to downloads, so I'm going to click it. It's going to take me to Untitled 5. I would like it if you gave it a proper name. I'm going to double click this GIF, draws a line, and then it goes out. I've got work to do here. I want that line, obviously, to go along the whole time. All right. To be honest, I wasn't reading the tutorial all that closely, but I would like you guys to do so. I want you to read it. The tutorials are actually fairly intuitive. I'm going to rotate this pen a little bit. So I'm on frame 20, and then it rotates to the other frames. It doesn't change what goes forward. So here we've got the pen and the line. So let's get that line in there. So as I'm watching this animation, I'm just going to finish this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frame 40, and I'm going to insert a keyframe there, and I do that by clicking that button. It's just above the thumb, not at the pointer finger there. And I'm going to make it go to where I can see the pen on the right side. All right? And then I'm going to go any frame in between, and I'm going to do a shape tween again, like I did at the beginning. This is just for the line, not for the pen. So we've got one shape, and it's morphing into the other shape. So let's watch this whole thing. It follows the line fairly closely, the pen. Now that's not perfect, but it is a little bit slow, and when that animation is sped up, it's actually going to look a little bit more natural. Good enough for what we're doing. I'm going to add another layer here. We're going to put some text in. So this is going to be a separate layer. I'm going to call it text. I'm going to go back to keyframe 1. I'm going to hit the T for text, and so this text is just going to be on this layer. So I've got a fairly big size here, and so when I make the box, it actually makes it bigger than I want. I do not want to cover that line, so I'm not happy with where that text is, so I step back. So on keyframe 1, now if you notice, I'm on the free transform tool. I think I'm on the text, but I'm not. Once again, on the free transform, I have to be clicked on the T on the left side. great job. Thank you, Mr. Computer. Has no idea what I'm doing. So I'm going to hit the T. Now I'm going to get this text, and once again, I've put it in the wrong spot. Here I go. T is underneath. That looks good. So I want text to appear as the line goes across. Make it look like this is what I'm writing. So CO, and I'm going to drag till I see the pen go a little bit further. Then I'm going to go up, I'm going to insert a keyframe. I do it the old way. Don't do it like that way. Do it over the thumb, and then I'm going to COM. And then I'm going to take the pen down a little bit further, insert a keyframe, type a little bit further. I want it all uppercase for what I'm doing. So tech. I might have gone a little bit further than the pen was, but whatever, who cares? Going to right click there, make another keyframe. You can see the black down below. Comtech rocks. Get that in between the line and the pen. All right, I don't think I wanted to say anything else. I'm going to insert a keyframe there so that it's still there. So then as the pen goes across, Comtech rocks comes in. I could have put more keyframes to make it look a little smoother, but I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to insert a keyframe further on the text, further than the other ones. And I'm just going to rotate this a little bit. So I'll go to my free transform. The pivot is right on the O there on rocks, so it's going to pivot around there. I'm going to insert another keyframe. And so this is going to make it look like it rocks back and forth. All right, then I'm going to go back to my starting position. Now, I'm not going to put any animation in between these. I could, but when it happens really quickly, it might be just as effective. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sound now. So I added a layer. I've gone to my audio library, and I've downloaded this big explosion cutoff. You will not be able to hear it on here, but you will be able to see the audio waveform. I'm now going to import to the stage that thing that I got from the downloads. Click desktop. No, it's in downloads. There it is. I said import the stage directly. It starts at frame 1. So when I hit play, it starts right away. That is not what I want. I only want that sound to go as it's rocking back and forth. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to insert a keyframe where I want it to start. All right, and I want it to start when it starts to rock. So I'm going to import to the stage now that I'm on that particular keyframe, and you can see that it's inserted on the timeline later. But it's cut off part of my audio waveform, and so that's not the desired effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my audio file. I'm going to drag that keyframe so that it's a little bit longer, and then I'm going to have the animation match the sound. And so I just drag the one keyframe, and I'm going to drag the other keyframes so that they match the timing of that particular sound. Just click and drag. You have to click and hold and drag. And so that looks pretty good. This looks better. All right, I keep dragging so that they line up. Comtech rocks. The sound comes and it's rocking back and forth. Okay, that's what I would like you guys to do. And then I'm going to hit that share button, and I'm going to publish. I cannot do a GIF on this one because I've got sound on there. So we're going to have to save this as an MP4. Oh, but before that, I wanted to put in a background. So I've made this separate layer. I've made a box. Now, I would expect you guys to do a little bit better work than just a pink box in the background. Make an appropriate background. You can have an actual picture. And then I drag that layer to the bottom so that it's not over top of those other layers. Otherwise, I will only see the pink box. I will not see anything else. So here, I've got my layer at my bottom. There's my animation. It goes across. It says Comtech rocks. Rocks back and forth. I'm going to export it as an MP4. Once again, this is also going to go to downloads. Media encoder is going to come up. Computers are a little bit slow, so just be patient. All right, we're waiting for that status bar to come across. There's blue. I actually sped this up a little bit. This might take some time. Then once we're done, we're going to go to downloads. We're going to verify that it's good. And then we're going to put this in D2L. with all of the elements that I asked for. So the different layers, the line, the text, the sound. All right? And if you want to make something your own, some original sound or something like that, and this is going to lead us into our topography assignment that we're going to do in Flash a little bit later.